I'm David Gadarian, and welcome to The Flip Story. My guest today is Dan MacQueen. If you look at his bio, you'll see that Dan is an incredibly polished keynote speaker, performance coach, and someone who has traveled the world sharing lessons on change management and resilience. But before Dan was on a global stage, he was a 28-year-old kid with quite a life-changing story about to unfold. We're going to talk about what it actually takes to rebuild an identity when your mind works perfectly, but your body refuses to cooperate, how ancient philosophy becomes a psychological survival tool, and what happens when you look at the unimaginable and choose to change your response. Dan, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dave, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. I'm excited to kind of get into it. So I know we're about to tell a pretty amazing story about starting around 2014. But before we get into that, do you mind just kind of level setting with the audience of who this 28-year-old kid was, what his kind of life looked like just before this moment we're about to explore?
Yeah, for sure. So this is all back in London, England. I had moved there after a master's in Sweden. I figured out that you could get a master's for free in Sweden if you had a European passport, which I had an Austrian passport, which is pretty cool. He'd just come fresh off a quarter-life crisis where he bought a motorcycle, chased girls, screwed off and moved to Europe for a little while. Got a job in tech, company called Hootsuite.
Okay, I know that company.
Worked as an implementation specialist, so post-sale, helping to onboard the clients and successfully use the tool to be successful.
What year? This was like 2013?
This is 2013, yeah. Late nights at the pub, night bus home on Friday nights at like 3 a.m. We had a keg at the office, which was pretty fun. So Friday nights were always fun at the office. But late nights, traveling Europe, playing sports in London, five-a-side footy, ball hockey in London. Life was pretty fun, man. I was having a good time and healthy, active guy.
I love that. I happen to know of Hootsuite pretty well, particularly at that time. I was one of the early users of Hootsuite. I don't recall ever us connecting. I was US based, but that's interesting. I missed that part of your bio. That would have really struck a chord with me. In any event, that's very cool. That sounds like you were kind of living every 20-something-year-old's dream, to be honest, the way you just described it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fast and loose and formidable years of my life, for sure.
Okay, so let's get into kind of what comes next, because we know there's a big moment here. So maybe you could just tell the story as best as you can. You can certainly tell it better. You don't need to have me walk you through it. So what happens here?
Yeah, so I was having these headaches, getting pretty poorly over a few weeks, taking painkillers like candy for them as my head was pounding.
Yeah.
So the tube one day, the tube site zigzag around London, lumbering towards Nine Hill Gate tube station on the district line. Now that's a slow roll at the best of times. Headaches were so bad, my vision turned starry and I saw spots. Slowly started to fade to black. It was a race to who could arrive at the station first, me or the blindness. Arrived at Nine Hill Gate tube station, stepped onto the platform, mined the gap, and the lights went out. I couldn't see a thing. I could smell it, I could hear it, but I'm blank, I'm black, I can't see anything. So Dave, I want to ask you, able-sighted guy your whole life, What would you think? What would you feel? What would you do?
What would I think?
Feel and do.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just going through my best guess. I think the first thing I would think is probably do some breathing exercises, to be honest. Panic and try and get myself through. What I would feel would be panic for sure. And I guess what I would do is start with breathing exercises. And then hopefully just go from there one step at a time, whatever that means. So what was your think, feel, do in this moment?
Panic was my feel and think, and do was freeze like a statue.
Okay.
Let's think about this. How am I going to get through this issue? This is a problem here.
This was like you've never had this happen before in your life,
no,
right?
This is like I'm blind. And I'm like, what's going on here? This is wild.
Yep.
The station's swirling around me. I can hear it. I can smell it. It's a busy tube station, right? Middle of the day.
Yeah. Are you still on the train at this point, or have you stepped
No,
off?
I stepped onto the platform.
Yep.
Because at least I want to know where I'm at. I don't want to be on a tube and just like gallivanting through the bloody London's underground and not be able to see.
Right.
So I step onto the platform, the lights go out, and I'm thinking, how can I get out of this pickle? This is a pretty bad situation I'm in right now.
Right.
I wish I could tell you how to get a response or solution to this issue. I did not. After the longest 3 minutes of my life, my vision comes back, and I carry on my day. But the next day...
You're kidding me. Wait. Your vision comes back, and you just... That's what goes on in your mind? Let me just ignore that and keep going?
Well, I was like, let's get this day resolved now, and then I'll go to the doctor tomorrow and see what's going on. So the next day, I went storming back into A&E, which is accident emergency in the UK, like ER in Canada, the United States.
Okay.
I told them the story of what happened. I was blind on a tube station in London. This is not normal. What's wrong with me? They ran some more tests, and again, they thought it was vertigo. They sent me home. On the way out, they told me I could always get my eyes checked by an optometrist.
Right.
All right. Sure, why not? Next day, the headaches came back with a vengeance. And I found myself in Mr. Patel's chair. He was midway through a routine exam when he stops the exam. Excuses himself in the room. Comes back a few minutes later with a sealed envelope which he hands to me. He told me to go directly to Moorfields Hospital today. Well, Dave and listeners.
Yep.
Tell a lie. Stopped at home first to grab a Jack Reacher book by Lee Child, a phone charger and a bite to eat. Then I arrived at Moorfields Hospital. Handed them the sealed envelope. They ran the same test there again. Then escalated me to Charing Cross Hospital. We're getting somewhere. I'm thinking, this is positive. Now, it turns out, Dave, I had a dangerous buildup of pressure in my brain caused from a non-cancerous cyst in my pineal gland. Caused me depression in my life, caused me vision issues. Now, it turns out I required emergency brain surgery tomorrow. Now, it turns out I was about to change altogether. After a frantic back and forth with folks in Canada, the last text message my mom received reads, "I'll see you soon, Mom. Think I'll have a new haircut next time I see you. Love, Dad."
Right.
And the message is obviously masking some fear.
Yep.
This could be the last message I write, right? Brain surgery is not a casual surgery you went for, so let's not go like a punk. A little bit of charm, a little bit of cheek. But I was terrified, right? On the operating table on June 21st, 2014, Mom's in the air flying to London. Something goes horribly wrong. I have a massive bleed in the brain, a brain hemorrhage. And the cyst burst when they operated. Mom lands and finds I'm in critical condition. I was in a coma for 4 weeks, but was in and out of consciousness for months after this. Things were pretty dicey to go. When all was said and done, I was learning how to walk, talk, and smile again.
Okay. So you're in this moment. You have to your brain function is solid though? You just physically, or are you kind of Swiss cheese?
I'm crunked, man. I'm like
Yeah.
Waking up from a coma and told, "Hey, Dan, you had a brain hemorrhage. You were in a coma. You can't walk right now. You can't." I'm trying to talk, but I can't talk.
Yep.
I point to my brother and go, "Give me a pen and paper."
Okay.
Gives me a pen and paper and I write down, "Get me out of here right now." Now, point to him. "You get me out of here." He's just like, "What do you want me to do, dude? Your one eye's wonky as hell." I couldn't walk. I had lost maybe 30 pounds of weight. I was hooked up to tubes and hoses. Like I was in dire straits for a while here, right? But I'm thinking this looks expensive. Let's get out of Dodge. I want to get out of this area. This looks unsafe. Let's bounce out of here.
Right.
So I was just like, "Flight, get me out of here right now." But it was, for me and a healthy, active guy to waking up 4 weeks later being told this is what happened to you was rather stark realization to kind of realize where my life had turned to, right? This is my new reality now.
Were you aware of that at that moment? Like you're like, or was it like a slow roll? Yeah.
Slowly, but like it was very, I was like, no, this is my life, man. I was healthy yesterday. Of course, yesterday was 4 weeks ago yesterday. And then being told, no, this is what happened to you. It's a miracle you're alive now, but like, this is what happened to you. I'm like, well, this doesn't sound so good. And then slowly coming to grips with that and accepting that fate and that prognosis of what the road ahead's going to be like. And it took a lot to kind of get my head around that and to make incremental gains and start getting some momentum behind my vibe. And
Yeah.
and ratchet myself up. But it was a stark contrast and a very abrupt change I experienced in 4 weeks.
Yeah. That sounds insane, to be totally honest. So there you are. You get this, you kind of come up from this, you get this slow realization that things are happening. So let's talk about the road to recovery now, of kind of how do they kind of socialize you on this fact that, okay, so now Dan understands where Dan is, Dan understands what's happening. Do they kind of give you like the whole program, or do they give it to you piecemeal to say like, all right, Dan, tomorrow we're going to do this little thing? Or is it kind of you choose that you drive it? I have no idea how this.
It's kind of piecemeal, but like,
Yeah.
those first few days in the hospital, man, like they bring you in the one room to sleep in the ICU.
Yep.
And the wails of the patients in the ICU in the nighttime is haunting, man. It's just like their lives have gone sideways. The doctors have gone home. The family has gone home, and they're just there, left with their thoughts and their reality for what's going on for them. And it's just like, you couldn't sleep for the first few nights.
Yeah.
The wails were so haunting of just like their life has just gone off the rails big time. And now they're left picking up the pieces and they just don't know what to do and how to navigate this. So it's like,
Right.
I couldn't even sleep for the first few nights, right? I had to get noise canceling headphones after a while to drown out the sorrow and drown out the victim mentality here. I was just like, this is not a good place to be. Like, this is not cool. This is going to be a long road ahead, man. So like, buckle up here. Let's get going here. And it was a slow mindset shift that kind of cascaded down through me as the days went on. And I kind of realized like, this is not a good situation that you're in now, but you're still alive, man. And you shouldn't, like, by all accounts, like, I should be dead a few times by now. So it's not what I think about it more than what it was that matters, right? It's not what happens to you, but how you think about it that matters. That's
Right.
Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher. And I kind of ingrained this mentality into my vibe and just lived for that every day. Now, the way the nurse got me talking again, I couldn't talk for the first few days because the tracheotomy had fried my vocal cords, Dave.
Yep.
So she took me down to the park. Well, my parents had built this dossier on me when I was in a coma, who Dan is. He's a master's graduate, a sportsman. Here's his girlfriend, Demi. Try and humanize me to make them care for me more. I'm sure.
Right.
Maybe it makes a difference. I don't know. Like, if you humanize a person, I think it makes a difference. I think it does. But she read this dossier on me, who Dan is, and she goes, oh, Dan's a sportsman. I'll get him talking again. Took me out to the park. Some kids playing soccer or football across the park. She goes, Dan, those kids across the park, they don't think you're good enough to talk, Dan. They don't think you're good enough to talk. And she backed away. And I yelled across the park some profanity to spare your team today. But like, I found out what motivates you. Proving you wrong. I can't do this. Jog on, brother.
Right.
And I yelled across the park some profanities, right? Like, just, you don't think I can do this? Screw you. You know what I'm talking to. And, of course, it came out like a garbled cacophony of noise, but it was vocal cords movement, right? Moving the muscle that hadn't been moving in like 6 weeks.
Right.
But
what'd that feel like?
Sorry?
What did that feel like? 6 weeks, no vocal cords. This nurse kind of motivates you through. Were you pissed? Were you just like, holy shit? Were you like almost,
I was furious that you told me like they don't think I'm good enough to talk. Like, screw you, man. Like, the next morning, my mom found out that I could talk, and she goes, Dan, how are you doing? I give her the thumbs up. She goes, no, Dan, use your words. And I go, oh, I should have never started talking. But just like, it wasn't easy to talk, right? It was a lot of exercise to get the vocal cords moving again and to just flex that muscle up that not been used for a few weeks.
Yep.
But then came time to, to walk was a big thing, right? The leg had actually been in the coma. Now, initially, the wheelchair took 45 minutes to get into. Next week, he did 40. Week after, he did 35. Then 30. Then 25. Aim small, miss small, and ratchet is how you accomplish goals.
Right.
I'll say that again. Aim small, miss small, only aim for 5 minutes. Once I hit that new benchmark, that's a ratchet up to that point where that's the new baseline. That's how you accomplish big goals. So I got that down to maybe 10 minutes. Then came time to move to Wolfson Rehab Center to learn how to walk again. Now, in order to walk, I wear a splint over my left leg. A splint's like a cast, gently tease the leg muscle back into shape.
Okay.
The leg had atrophied and the coma was non-viable. It would shrunk it up at an angle. So it's designed to gently tease the leg muscle back into shape. Now, the first night I wore the splint through the night, no issue, no stress. This will be easy, I thought. This will be easy. Hinting it's not going to be easy, right, Dave?
Right.
The second night,
like we're
after
going to
20
go
minutes, it
somewhere
was
uneasy.
painful. After 30 minutes, it was dreadful. After 40 minutes, it was unbearable. I buzzed the nurse. Take the splint off my leg because I can't handle the pain. But tomorrow, I told her, tomorrow we're going to do this for an hour. I'm a walker. I can handle the pain. I identified as a walker. I can handle the pain, I told her.
Yeah.
Big talk, right? Third night, they're up the leg. Tied off the ankle. Give me the clicker, the nurse call button. They go patrol the Wolfson ward. Now, the Wolfson ward was an L shape, so short on this side, long on this side. Short on this side, long on this side.
Okay.
Leave me in that hospital room that smells like only a hospital room can smell. It's sanitized, sterilized. It's clean, but you're wondering what sort of atrocities have been committed under the guise of Lebanese ethnicness. After 10 minutes, legs painful. After 20 minutes, legs dreadful. After 30 minutes, legs unbearable. I start passing the clicker back and forth, trying to distract myself from the pain.
Right.
As the pain ratchets up my throat, I get more enthusiastic. Till eventually, inevitably, I drop the clicker.
Oh,
and it lands
goodness.
hardly on the floor 3.5 feet down the ground. Sugar, I say.
Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Look over the edge of the bed. There's the clicker. Lying on the floor looking back at me. If I get that clicker, I can stop this pain. I can end this monstrosity. Only problem was, a fall from that height
Right.
might break my arm. In fact, I figured about a 50-50 chance to break my arm. A coin flip. Not the best odds. I changed tack. I'm trying to untie the splint, but it's set up the ankle, not at the hip. I can't reach that far down. I'm not that flexible. Help. Help. I'm yelling at the top of my lungs. The word was an L shape, right? Short on this side, long on this side. Short on this side, long on this side. Nurses are at the far end of the ward. They can't hear me on for help. As someone flipped the coin. Drop down and grab the clicker. Even if I break my arm, the splint's got to come on my leg. That's part number 1, 2, and 3. Lower myself up the edge of the bed. Crash down in a heap. Blankets, wires, cables, solid go. The arm holds.
Okay,
and I hammer
then.
the clicker.
Yeah.
Expecting nurses to come bursting into the room.
Right.
Like the bat signal's been put up, right? They kind of stroll in 5 minutes later. What are you doing on the floor, love? First of all, I say, that's a fantastic British accent over there. Where'd you say you're from again? Dave, in all honesty, I did not say that. But it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matters, right? It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matters. The reason why I'm telling this story right now is I learned 3 lessons from this experience. The first lesson being, probably most obvious, let's not pass the clicker back and forth. That's a bad idea.
Right.
Second lesson being, let's have a splint up at the hip, not at the ankle. That way I can untie the should this happen going forwards. And the third lesson, probably most profound, was let's always be solutions oriented for this going forwards. When things go sideways in life, which sure as you're born, they will. How do you resolve your issue? How do you fix your problem? What's the solution here? The solution was that clicker, right? That was everything for me. Now, with the help of the splint, I got walking in the hall with the Wolfson on the Zimmer frame, which is a 4-post walker you kind of lurch forward on. Then I moved up to the Ferrari, which was a walker in Ferrari racing red, but I could go fast. For me, this is greased lightning.
Right.
Then came time for naked walks. Now, what's a naked walk?
Just real quick, how long is this now? You had said weeks and weeks. So from June,
from the splint to walking,
just from day 0 of kind of chaos to now, you're about to do your first
Wolfson
walk.
rehab was about 3 months after this brain hemorrhage.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably the first month of the Wolfson Rehab Center was walking, or the splint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you feeling optimistic here at this moment? You're about to take your first walk, or is it like just
I'm
tired?
Getting progress, man. I'm getting some momentum here, baby.
And you're feeling it.
And burn. I'm getting some stuff rolling here, so it's going well for me.
Right. Good.
So then came time for the naked walks, right? Now, what's the naked walk, you may ask? Sounds provocative.
Does sound provocative.
It does sound provocative, right? Dan, I don't think you can go for a naked walk. It's against policy in the hospital. Yeah, well, I'm a rock star in that war, let me tell you. But I'm walking those sport raids. I'm walking naked. The term kind of stuck. It was a long road down to naked walks. Man, I'm just happy moving. Then came time to walk in Tooting, Broadway. So, Dave, have you been to London, England?
One time, actually, this past fall, my wife and I had our 20th anniversary. Our first trip. Yeah, thank you. It was our first trip without the kids in 20 years. So London was the spot.
So London is a gorgeous city, but very busy at places, right?
Yep.
Did you make it to Tooting Broadway?
I don't know. Is that the
It's
like the
not a
Broadway
hot
area?
spot on the tourism map, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Let me set the scene for your group and yourself. Tooting Broadway is an area in South London. An area they call up and coming.
Right.
Think loud sirens, drugs, gangs. It's dirty, it's hectic, and boy, is it busy.
Right.
Walk with a cane and walk with an eye patch. After 4 months in a wheelchair, I'm literally Bambi on ice. I turn the corner to walk on the high street for the first time. Immediately get slammed into by someone. Stagger back a few feet. Someone else scurries past me on the right-hand side. I thought I was done with the rats. Someone had been stabbed on the sidewalk over here. I'm thinking, this is a pretty wild place to learn to walk. After a few days of this, I was thinking, this is the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Can't they see him trying to walk here? Can't they see him trying here? And then one day, my perspective shifted. Maybe this isn't the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. And maybe this is the best. If I can walk here, I can walk anywhere. Now, Tooting Broadway didn't change, right?
Right.
But it went from the worst to the best in my mind, and my mood reflected that. What are you looking at in your life you're convinced is the worst? Convinced is the absolute worst. Hey, maybe it is. Maybe you can find a way to turn down the suck a little bit, shift that perspective a little bit. Iron Mike Tyson famously said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Now, your punch may not be a brain hemorrhage, right? Facts. Odds are it probably won't be. But it will be a job loss, will be a breakup, will be a diagnosis for you, loved one. You will take that punch in the mouth. How you respond. I'm offering a compass. It always points towards true north. We'll look at things like mindsets, perspectives, and hacks. Hacks allow you and your team to better than yesterday, tomorrow. My name's Dan MacQueen, and the reason why I told you that story about learning to walk in Tooting Broadway is when you change the way you look at the world you look at changes. And you don't need a brain hemorrhage to understand that. So that kind of draws in how this overlaps with real life.
Right.
To the normal person's perspective. How can this be applicable to me? The odds are you're not going to have that happen to you, right? But you are going to face some adversity in life.
We all
I've
do.
created a pretty robust structure and framework with mindsets, perspectives, and hacks that allows you to navigate change successfully. And I use it to this day. When everything bad happens in my life to this day, I still find solace in that framework and structure.
All right. I want to ask some questions here. I'm going to
Fire
get
away.
into mindsets and hacks in particular. I love that concept of being able to solve things with ideas and tricks and what have you. I guess it's really going back to the story you were just telling. In terms of your moment of discovery, where you went from walking in the worst place in the world to the best place in the world, was that something that happened instantaneously, or was that a slow recognition? What was happening in that moment?
That was a few days.
Yeah.
And I was so frustrated by this. Like, then I thought about it, right? Like, why is this the worst? I'm like, well, they don't respect them walking with a stick and an eye patch and a cane. Like, can't they tell I'm trying to walk here?
Right.
They're bumping into me. They're not giving me any space. It's busy. It's hectic. It's a total dumpster fire, right? But I thought about it and thought, well, if you were to design a place to learn how to walk in the world, wouldn't you want it challenging? Wouldn't you want it difficult? Wouldn't you want it to be putting you on your toes to make yourself better?
Yep.
And then that mindset shift flipped, like, maybe this is the best. And those walks were not onerous. They were not taxing. They were building me up. Thank you for the opportunity to learn how to walk.
Right.
Bump into me, crash past me. Good, bring it on. If I can walk here, I can walk anywhere. And that
I love
mindset
it.
took.
Yep.
And then that onerous task, learning to walk in Tooting Broadway, was not a chore. It was like a privilege to do that because I'm getting to learn in the best place to learn to walk in the world. That's a mindset shift about how the game can, like, the mind can help you alleviate these
Right.
difficulties, right? When that mindset goes, it's like everything falls into place. It's like it all makes sense.
Yeah.
But until it goes, it's the worst place to learn to walk in the world.
So when you were walking in the worst place in the world, was your headspace similarly, like, I'm in a real bad spot, or were you feeling optimistic at this time other than the walking?
Oh, I was feeling good, man. I'm like, I'm walking, baby. This is dope. Look at me. I'm walking to the cane. This is awesome. Like, this is incredible.
Yeah,
Like the wheelchair sucked, man. I really hated that.
yeah,
I was a big sporty guy before this happened, lots of sports.
right.
And the wheelchair was like a big knock on my vibe, right? Like being wheeled to the shower in the morning in like a waterproof wheelchair, like
Yep.
talk about losing your dignity, man. Like Jesus. But
Okay.
it
So you then
was
go ahead, I'm sorry.
oh, I was just gonna say like it's like I'm walking again and I'm learning to walk in the best place to walk in the world. This is looking up right now. We're doing well here. We're turning and burning, baby.
Right. So were you applying that to everything going forward? Just like bang for the next like couple of weeks, it was almost like a drug of kind of euphoria, or it sounds kind of, I mean, hearing you tell it, it sounds like it was profound.
Oh, it was massive, man. It changed my whole perspective on life. Like, and then I looked, well, can I apply this to my rest of my recovery? Like, yeah, you can. You just got to shade the rest of recovery with this perspective of like, well, what an opportunity to learn how to do things properly again
Right.
and rebuild my life in a way that I want and know through intention and practice now. You know, you get kind of caught on autopilot before this, right? And it all kind of happens and just kind of builds momentum. And before you know it, you're down a path maybe you didn't want to be down. But now I got a hard stop and hard reset. I can rebuild my life the way I want it to be, the way it should be have been done in the first place. With intention, with perspective, with mindsets, with philosophy. And I'm not trying to tell you this is going to be easy if you got a hard thing coming up. It's not going to be easy, but it is simple. Simple to decide that I'm looking at it this way through this lens and just throw on that lens, right? What am I looking at right now? Well, what about this
Right.
perspective? And then that cascades into your whole mentality, your mindset, your demeanor. Because it's not onerous, it's not taxing. It's like, thank you for bumping into me. This is making me better, man. This is awesome. You're challenging me here. This is like a real, like a contact sport kind of thing, right? You kind of gets in the game a little bit.
Right.
When that mindset goes, it's like, now it's like, I thank you. You're making me better with this. And you want the next challenge. You're leveling up every time you get set back because it's like an automatic, like, try me kind of vibe.
Right.
And it's like, you think you got me down here? No, you got me down here, man. I'm going to level up to this ratchet up to that new benchmark, right?
Yep.
Aim small, miss one, ratchet. That's how you get to the spot, right? And that's didn't happen overnight, but it happened over the course of a few days. And like when it went, man, everything's covered with this lens. Everything
Huh.
is like half full from half empty.
Right.
And the way you look at the world is so important because it shapes how you view and interact with everything. If you can shift the perspective a little bit, change your perspective just a little bit, it can make a massive difference. So when I do my talks now on stage, I start with mindset because that's the first pillar to fall. Once that falls into place, everything becomes easier. It's like a
Yeah.
cascading downward to step down, step down, step down to like level off to baseline. If the mindset can go first, you're in a good way.
Right. So then that changes your perspective, and then you can apply it everywhere. That makes total
Exactly.
sense. That's kind of amazing. Good for you for just kind of being able to find your way through that. Do you, Dan, do you think, what do you think allowed you to kind of discover and kind of make those kind of leaps? Because I think there's a lot of folks that maybe, you're right, don't have maybe the brain aneurysm, but there are some that do, and there's certainly some that have a lot of physical kind of chaos that they're introduced to, and there's plenty of people that even way short of that, that still they struggle to kind of discover what you did. What do you think allowed you to do that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I've always been a pretty resilient kid. Like I've always
Yeah,
been someone who says he'll do something and he does it. Someone who can accomplish things like math, for instance, in high school. I hated math. I was like, this is so stupid. Why do you need to know algebra? Why do you need to know like the angle of this triangle? I'm not going to be a bloody mathematician.
Right.
And I hated it and I sucked at it, right? Actually, geometry I was actually decent at, but the rest of math I was horrible at. But I went to tutorials like 2 days a week, and then I had a math tutor, and like I grinded it out because that's what you can do. And I passed math. Well, I got a C in math. So, I got through it because I put the graft in to get through this. My dad and mom kind of instilled this like work ethic. Like if you put the work in, you can overcome these setbacks. Kind of always
Mhm.
carried that with me. So like this brain injury was a big puzzle for me. I started to understand patterns and understand like, you go around the track a few times, you start understanding where the obstacles are and where the pitfalls are.
Right.
And I started to avoid those. I'm like, no, I've been down this path before. This is a right turn, not a left turn. You want to avoid this. I stumble down this, and I fail all the time. Failure is something I really talk about in my talks a lot. Is that my friend Riel calls this first attempt in learning. If you're not failing, you're not even trying.
Right.
You fail and you fail, hopefully no more than twice, and then you learn and you adapt. Ideally,
Okay.
you fail once and you adapt, but like sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times. I'll be honest, I'm not the quickest tool here, sharpest tool in the shed, but like the patterns are there if you can open your eyes to them and like, well, this failed last time, so let's avoid this and go around the next way.
Can I
And
ask
that's
you a
in everything.
question on that?
That's not just recovery. That's in life. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
No, all good. This is something I'll candidly say I've struggled with is the concept of fail fast. What's your thoughts on that? Fail,
Look,
I get.
the fastest way to decide what to do is to make a decision and go for it.
Right.
And if you fail, then you know that's the wrong direction to go. So fail fast. I mean, I would say, yeah, it works, but like I'm not always the fastest guy to get this stuff right. So sometimes that comes around the year later, and I'm like, well, I did it last year,
Yeah.
so this year I'll go this way. So like fail fast is like in the concept's there, but like it's not always in practice. This like tomorrow I'm
Right.
going to pivot this way. It's like, no, I'll wait for this to come around next time and then go the other direction or go slightly off direction. But like
How,
it's the
yeah, I
concept's
don't know.
valid. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm on the fence on it. I feel like fail is great. I love failure. I'm with you. You learn from trying. You have to. I like what you said earlier. If you're not failing, you're not trying to learn, and that's the first obstacle to anything. But I don't know. I always struggled with fail fast. It feels a little cynical to me.
Let me give you a couple of stories about failure that really put my journey into perspective and how I've come to terms with failure in my life.
Yeah.
So when I first went back to work, I used to shower with a bath mat because the doctor said to my parents, he could slip and fall in the shower. He needs a bath mat. And I hang it up to work. If I went in the washroom, in the bathroom, in the bathtub to drain and drip and dry when I was at
Yep.
work. The next day I'd use the bath mat to shower, but there's a symbol that I'm not good enough to shower. And over a few weeks, it started to drive me nuts, man. I'm like, this bath mat is like the symbol, like I'm not good enough to shower. It's like the game
Okay.
within the game, right?
Right.
It's a bit complex here, but like the game within the
Yeah.
game, like I don't need this bath mat anymore. Like screw the bath mat. Told my parents, I'm not using the bath mat anymore. I don't need this anymore. It's ridiculous. Oh no, Dan, you need the bath mat. You could slip and fall. The doctor said you have to have this.
Right.
I don't need the bath mat anymore. Next day, you didn't use the bath mat, and guess what? Just fine. Retired the bath mat. Used to walk with a cane in London. Came back to Vancouver for Christmas one year. Forgot the cane in London. Guess what? Just fine. So retired the cane. Went to safari in South Africa. Used to wear a contact lens to block the eyesight of one eye because I got double vision from the brain injury. I thought Dustin would get my eyes, so I didn't bring the contact lens to South Africa. Guess
Yeah.
what? It was just fine. So retired the contact lens. Each one of these steps were like there was a real chance of failure. But that's how you stretch and understand the new parameters, right?
Right.
And luckily, I did not fail. I did one of these, but the risk of failure was real. I was okay with failing because I wanted to take a step forward.
Right.
And when you succeed, you're like, well, I guess I don't need that anymore. I'm past that point. The failure is past me. But like by risking failure is how you improve yourself. So like take that in context in your own life, right? Like what could that look like in my life? You don't do anything brash and stupid and hurt yourself and blame me. But like the concept is the concept, right? Like
Right.
if you're not failing, what are we even trying? Like, is there even a real risk of failure here? Like, you're not even really trying.
I love it. I love it. I love all of it. Um, okay. So now you're a pretty significant speaker. You talk a lot about this. You have a whole set of frameworks, as you've mentioned, that are all applicable. And I'm not going to ask you so much about that, just to be clear, Dan. I want to, we can talk about that too, but I'm more interested in what does that feel like to know that you kind of went through all of this, and now you've put together all of this pretty significant body of work that others are able to benefit from. And you've kind of, talked about the journey of learning how to talk and how to walk again. And so now fast forward to you're here and you're sharing this whole kind of thing with all kinds of people for their betterment and their potential. What does that feel like for you? Like when you kind of step back and look at that journey?
Well, it feels great.
Good.
It lights me up. It's my purpose in life now is to show this. The way out is through. My speaking career started out of me giving a talk to outpatients back at Wolfson Rehab
Mhm.
Center for like a group of 8 to 10 outpatients that were coming out of rehab. Because the world outside of the nerfed up worlds of the hospital is different. There's hard edges, there's trips and falls, there's stumbles, there's going to be misses and missteps. In the
Right.
hospital, everyone's catering to your needs. Like, oh, he's got a brain injury. You give him space to walk. Here's his lunch. Here's this.
Right.
Like it's just like you're kind of walking around with white gloves on, right? The real world's not like that. It's like, just get out of my way, man. We're walking here. This is a sidewalk. Tooting Broadway walking there. First prime example.
Right.
Like you got to have strategies to navigate this change outside of the hospital. So I gave this talk to them to kind of help fortify their mindset and to adjust to the new parameters and like what I learned from my experience.
Yeah.
And I just shared what worked for me from a
Did,
place of honesty and like vulnerability of like being like, hey, I struggled with this. This worked for me this way. I found this helped me out.
yeah.
Um, and it
Do you
really
remember that
fulfilled
first
me.
talk?
Sorry?
Do you remember that first talk you gave?
Yeah, it was pretty rubbish, man. I was reading off a script and like had a
Yeah.
laptop, didn't have it plugged in the TV. It was like my slides are on my laptop here, and I'm like going through it and reading off of my slides here because I didn't know off by heart.
Yeah.
It was probably rubbish, man, but they thanked me because they're like, "This is great, Dan. This is phenomenal to have this information. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing this and giving back." And I gave the talk at Hootsuite for Mental Health Day a couple years ago. And the feedback I got from that talk was so positive and profound. Like, this is golden. What a golden mindset. This is punk rock, man. Like, this is so cool. Thank you for sharing this. And I was like, all right, awesome. When I lost my job, a part of a corporate restructuring about 6 months later, I thought, let's become a speaker. Let's share the knowledge here. Let's share the wealth. Because what a shame it would be to leave these lessons learned on the sidelines of life.
Right.
I've walked through the fire. I can tell you what works and what doesn't work. If you don't like my stuff, hey, don't listen to it. Like, full stop. If you're doing well in life and you need my help, don't listen to me. This is what helped me. And maybe it helps you. Absorb it and like filter it, yes or no, but like it's my truth. You can't tell me it's not valid because like this helped me get through this and like maybe it can help you navigate change yourself as well.
Right. So earlier you had mentioned, kind of as you were going through this journey, that you had this amazing opportunity. You kind of recognized it to rebuild. I think I wrote it loosely. I can't really read my handwriting, but I think the way I took it down was you could rebuild the life that you would have wanted. And you had
Yeah.
that kind of moment. You feel you're living that life right now?
Yeah. I mean, like I'm looking at life now, like my third or fourth chance at life. I've got 7
Yeah.
lives. I'm a cat,
Yeah.
But like I don't fear death now.
Right.
Which is, like sounds very arrogant and like egotistical, but like I fear not living a life that I'm capable of. I feel like settling for life and settling for things that I'm not capable of, like stretching for.
Uh-huh.
Like I can do this, I can make this work. And like if you believe that, man, like who am I to tell you otherwise? Like, I told my parents when I got back to work at Hootsuite, like maybe you should go back to support. He worked with sport. He used to work on the sport team. And she goes, maybe you should go back to the sport team. It's less technically jogging than an implementation specialist. But I worked my tail off to become an implementation specialist just before this. And I said, no way, I'm an implementation specialist. I identify with that. I can make that work. And it took a little while, but man, I was producing at a good clip. I worked 80% of the work week, so 4 days a week.
Yep.
Ramped up from 2. But I was producing at a clip of like a full-time employee, but working 80%, which is pretty phenomenal. I identify with that version of myself. I'm the implementation specialist. I can do this. So it's just like how you identify with yourself. And like, I'm a very stubborn guy. And I think that's why I'm talking to you today, because like, I'm not going to settle for this.
Right.
I'm chasing the life I've got. So like, I'm going to tell you one more story about having eye surgery a couple of years ago. So I've still got double vision from the brain surgery, from the brain injury. So I see 2 of you now, Dave, which is phenomenal. Let me tell you. Fantastic to see 2 of you, brother.
I'm not sure I wish that on anyone, but.
But I had the 3rd surgery in the eyes, 2 on the right, 1 on the left. And this surgery adjusted the eyes ever so slightly, but it backfired tremendously. My head's turned to the left now to look to the right eye. I don't trust the left eye at all.
Yeah.
And it was a total dumpster fire, man. It set me back like 50 steps back, right? My dad goes, Dan, do you regret having the eye surgery? I go, yes, it's changed everything. It's changed everything. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I was taking the next step. It reminded me of this like Charlie Munger, the boy, the fox, the horse, and the mole. The boy's walking through a thick wood. He yells back at the horse. He goes, I can't see a way through. The horse says, can you see your next step? The boy says, yeah. The horse says, well, then just take that. Just take that. That's what I was doing with the answer to take the next step. And sometimes that step's going to backfire. Again, risking failure to improve yourself. This was 50 steps back. Now, fast forward to 6 months ago. Had the 4 surgery in the eyes, 2 on the right, 2 on the left. The straight in the eyes. The head tilt was away for a little while. It's back now, but it's starting to ease off a bit now, which is helpful. All that's to say is like, I'm taking the next step. I'm not settling for life. I'm chasing the life I want. And this eye surgery, man, was not 1 step back. This is about 50 steps back for me. I'm a speaker on stage. When I'm turning my head a lot to the left, the microphone's here, it drops out. The microphone drops out. I had to get a new headpiece for the microphone.
Right.
Total dumpster fire, right? But my confidence is shot. I can't look you in the eye because I'm bobbing my head like a drunken boxer. It's a horrible decision, but like I'm taking the next step, man. I'm chasing that down. And I can't ever lose that mentality of doing that. And that's where failure comes into play here, right? I risked failure for this and it failed. But you know what? I don't regret having the eye surgery. I was taking the next step. It's a mindset game, right? The mindset is what it is.
Right.
So take the next step, right? Everything in life. And sometimes that step's going to be a backfire. You have to be okay with the stakes. But that's how you improve yourself.
I love it. Do you think your 28-year-old self would have any idea of who this guy is? Or just total shock?
20-year-old Dan was pretty fast and loose, man. He was pretty try hard, but secretly didn't try hard. Didn't show that he tried hard. It was like naturally good things. But I tried hard on the surface.
Yep.
Pretty charismatic, pretty soft-skilled, soft social skills were pretty strong. Very smooth operator.
Yeah, I can see that.
He would be not surprised, but like proud of the man that I've become today. Because it was so easy to throw up your hands and say, you know what, I'm here now. I guess I can't go any further.
Right.
Like that thought crossed my mind one time. And I said, no, we're not doing that. We're not letting go, man. You're fighting to the bitter end. And my doctor, Jens Foles, and he goes, Dan, you never lost a spark in your eye. I meet a lot of patients that have had bad injuries and they're just dead behind the eyes, but you never lost that. And I refuse to allow myself to just lay down and die with this, right? Like I'm going to fight to the bitter end because I get a chance to do this, right? The odds of you being a human being are 400 trillion to 1. The odds of you being a human being are 400 trillion to 1. More likely to win the lotto 10 times in your lifetime than your of life in the first place. You get to do this. I'm only Dan MacQueen because blip is my DNA. Without it, it wouldn't be me. And I wouldn't trade myself for the world, man.
Right.
The joy, the love, the loss, the sacrifice, the love, the hardships. they've made me who I am today, and I get to do this. I get to do this with this in place. I'm only Dan MacQueen's DNA. When you start shifting your mindset around this stuff, you realize like how trite and like just whatever. It's not personal, but it's your
Right.
responsibility to fix it, right? Like I get to do this. So victim mentality, like I don't really put up with that at all. You want to whinge about stuff, like, hey, be about it. What are you doing about it to change? And I'll give you ways to navigate change successfully by adopting a stoic mindset. Control the controllables, right? Like, what can I influence and impact? And then take steps to rectify that. I'm very religious with my whoop strap now, which is my strain, activity, and rest. Which back in the day, I was never that. I played sports, a lot of sports. I was quite a good athlete.
Yeah.
Never really worked on exercise, like running, like screw that, or like swimming, right? I'll play real sports, man. But now it's like with the double vision, I can't really play ball sports anymore. So like I'm
Right.
swimming lots, I'm doing push-ups lots, getting the strain kind of high, and resting. Important rest to really 8 hours a night, solid. I've built myself up around these limitations that are still there. So like fatigue's a big thing still. So I base it around a lot around rest. But I know when I can push and when I have to pull back. It's about adjusting to your parameters, right? Being flexible. Rigid but flexible. Like rigid in the fact that like I'm going to do this, but like flexible in how I achieve that goal.
Is that easy to figure out? Or is
No,
that hard for you?
it took a while,
Yeah.
but that's why I speak now. It's like, look, I can tell you what I did.
Right.
You can, by all means, you can take 3 wrong turns and then come back and be like, okay, which way did you say to go? Oh yeah, go that way. Oh, okay. Thank you. Like, yeah. And I do that myself too. Like, I'll be like, I know better. I'll just go down this road, take the next left, take the next right. And like, where the hell am I? I'm lost. Let's go back to the start. No, Dan, think this through. Follow directions you were given. Oh, okay, go this way.
Right.
It's just like, I can tell you what I've learned and how I've learned it, but when I think the beauty of my story is that like when you find yourself in a difficult path, in a difficult situation, you'll remember what I said, and then it will make sense for you. If you're doing well in life and you're kicking ass right now, be like, oh yeah, whatever. Dan tells me to do this, but like I don't need to know that because like I'm not there. When you're down the deep pit, and you're like, how did he say to get out of here again? You're like, oh yeah,
Right.
control the controllables, build momentum, stack things up, and incrementally build yourself to this. Aim small, miss small, and ratchet. Like this all makes sense now. That's how I get out of this pit. But like, if you don't find yourself down in a deep pit, you're like, yeah, whatever. I don't need to know this. But you're gonna face it in life sooner or later. So this is like evergreen content, right? It's evergreen stuff that I can speak about that you don't have to have a brain injury. You could have, change at work or change in the
Right.
marketplace or change anywhere. Like it's about change in life. And change is constant. Change for most people comes in drips and drabs. For me, it was a tidal wave. Well, it was 2 tidal waves. And I was swept out to sea and I was just clamoring to get a hold of anything to help me float.
Right.
Made it back to shore and then like swept out again by another tidal wave. It's like, oh, this is insane. How is this still happening to me? But like I've got strategies now to get back to shore faster.
Love it. I'm almost reluctant to ask you this because I feel like the whole episode has been really a series of chapters in the Flip Story recipe book. But I would like to invite you to one of the, as we close out, one of the segments of my show is the Flip Story recipe book, where I invite all the guests, you included, to give a specific share. It can be something to help folks flip their life, flip a moment, set a, well, you get it. However you want to take it. I would love to include you.
I'll go back to Stoicism for this. If you can remember this one phrase, if I could tell my younger self this one phrase before the brain injury happened, it would help him tremendously. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. If you eat, breathe, and live that, man, you're golden. But that guy's got no idea what he's getting into, and he has no idea what's coming around the corner. If you can believe that mindset to your core, to your bones, man, you can overcome anything. It's not going to be easy, but it's simple because that framework is so simple to fall back on, right? It's what I think about that matters, not what it is. The story of walking into Broadway. What I thought about was it mattered more than what it was, right? What you think about things matters most than anything else.
Love
The
it.
worst know the best.
Dan, this has been awesome. Really, really, I'm kind of a little bit at a loss for words here. Just kind of going through everything, replaying everything we've covered. I just can't say thank you enough for coming on the show. It's been really wonderful to spend some time with you. And I guess the last question, just for you or for the audience, really not for you, is how can people find you? And I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, Dave. My website's MacQueen Dan, MacQueen, QUEEN Dan .com. I'm a keynote speaker and I'm offer for keynote events, speaking. Most of MacQueen Dan across the socials. It'll be linked in the show notes, so you can follow that there if you'd like.
Yep, I'll put them
But
all
Dave,
in.
thank you for having me on the show. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today.
Oh man, this was incredible. Thank you for coming on and for sharing. And this is quite the flip story. So really just impressed and inspired. So thank you, Dan.
Cheers, brother.
All right, folks, we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.